What's going on, people, and welcome to a brand new episode of Too Many Games and Not Enough Time. Yes, can't believe we're in a third lockdown, fam. My headpiece is atrocious. I've had to bring back out the do-rag. Yes, I'm doing do-rag gang. Now, on Too Many Games, I get lucky enough to talk to some incredible people within the industry. And what's dope right now is we're not just on YouTube. So you might be listening to us on Spotify, on your iTunes, wherever. Make sure if you're listening over there, come to the YouTube and give man a thumbs up. Now, I'm super excited right now to talk to this young lady because she is a journalist. You may hear her words on Gaming Bible, Eurogamer, Kotaku. She is a Twitch streamer. I'm talking about busting up Adidas campaigns. And she is about this archery thing. I'm talking real life bow and arrow. Aloy can't talk to her. She'll survive a zombie apocalypse. Imogen Mellor, welcome to Too Many Games.
Hey Midas, how's it going? How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you this evening?
I'm pretty good, yeah. You know, end of the week, just looking forward to the weekend. Doing some archery actually tomorrow anyway, so yes.
We're going straight into this, straight into it. So I sat down and was like, obviously any guest that comes on to the show, I do some research, but I known about your archery from following you on social media, and I think it's so dope. And then I went down a rabbit hole of watching so much of your Twitch streams, of just watching you just... The funny thing is, right, I thought you were just going to be doing archery the whole time. Most of the time you're just chatting. You're just chatting to people, and then you do a little bit of archery. But I'm not going to lie, I got sucked in. I was watching it. I was involved. How did you get into archery?
I started at university. I had someone that I just became friends with. You know, when you hit it off, like, we're friends now, let's hang out, let's find a way to hang out. And he was like, well, I'm going to do an archery course next week. You should come along. It's 2 weeks long. You pay a little bit and you get to shoot. And then I did that, really enjoyed it. At the end of those 2 weeks, they picked a team of new people to train up to be actual archers, to do archery a lot and go to competitions. And I was one of the people they picked to be part of the team. And then I spent the last 2 years of my university career just shooting a lot, 11 hours a week, a lot. And it was, the best time. It was fantastic. I love archery. It's the best sport. If you've ever thought about getting into it, get into it. You know, it's just so good.
It looks so sick. But do you know what I really want to ask you? From a gameplay point of view, when you're playing something like a Tomb Raider or a Horizon Zero Dawn, do you feel that immersion, or does it just feel fake? Does it not give you the right feeling? Because sometimes I think sometimes when you're too involved, I produce content, and sometimes when I'm watching content, I'm spending more time watching it from a production point of view than just enjoying the content. So does it affect it for you in video games?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I wrote a piece, the Kotaku piece that I wrote before was called Video Game Characters Are Terrible at Archery. And so when there is archery in a game, you just subconsciously even judge them a little bit. But the thing is that there is a disconnect. They're two hobbies, and I understand because of how complex and how slow actual archery is. I can understand people taking shortcuts. I'm just if people were actually doing archery in these games, it wouldn't be nearly as fun or pretty or epic or cool. There wouldn't be as many as explosions like in Horizon Zero Dawn. It's there's some leeway in it, but I definitely do a little bit of judging. I'm just like, Lara Croft, what are you doing? You would have taken skin off your arm by now.
Yeah, I heard you've been brushing Lara, boy. You've been brushing her excavation skills, calling her a thief, and all of them thing there. I see you're on to Lara. So in Too Many Games, like I said, we get to speak about the games that we were able to play. Now we've got a little bit more time on your hands. You work in gaming, so you probably don't have any more time on your hands. But the little bit of time you have had for yourself, what have you been playing?
Well, actually, very recently, I've gotten into playing. I mean, my backlog for 2020 was huge. I played so much in 2020 that I've meant to play because of streaming mostly, more than just staying inside. And so recently, I've been playing Untitled Goose game for the first time, which is amazing. Cuphead. I'm playing through Hitman 2 with my little sister. And she looks like basically exactly the same. And like Twitch streaming with her has been an absolute pleasure. I adore my little sister. And what else? I play a lot of Overwatch. I mean, to be fair, a lot of the stuff I try to play in my free time often, gears towards improving my knowledge of games as a whole. So I'm trying to like get into Warzone. That's an intimidating game to really get into these days because everyone knows what they're doing, like way before I do. But what else? Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing Nier Automata. I don't know how to say it. I'm terrible with pronunciation. God, what else am I playing?
So let's break down your list a bit. So first of all, disclaimer, her little sister's not 5, all right? She don't have a 5-year-old sister playing Hitman before people like, rah, she's trying to get a skeng youth to come around. No, your sister's not 5 years old, all right? So that's our first disclaimer.
Yeah,
so
she's just about to turn 20. She's about to turn 20. She's not...
So let's get that out of the way before people start thinking you're raising some warriors out here. You get me? I don't want no one getting at you like that.
When I actually have kids, I will raise those to be warriors, but not my little sister. No, outbound.
Exactly. So Hitman is, for me, super, super underrated title, and I love the way you can experience it by various ways, and you can do so much other things. But one thing that never really worked for me, and I completely understand why they did it, was the whole episodic things that I've never really got into. That whole, even when it comes to Netflix, jars me when they do it. Just give me everything so I can binge and move on. I don't have time in my life to wait 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So after the second game, I kind of fell off. So I'm excited for Hitman 3, which is going to have
amazing.
All of the... Exactly, yeah, where it's going to have all the old ones. And I'm not a PC don like you. I'm not tangled up in wires and cards and graphics. I'm a console gamer. Got my PS5. I'll be playing that on that. So super excited about that. Let's talk about the goose, because I've heard so much about this goose and I've heard how funny and hilarious this game is, but I've never got into it. Like, I'm really, really tempted to grab it on my Switch, but tell me about the goose.
I like to be fair, as someone that has to like really follow trends, like my brain is always sort of on the things that people are really loving on the internet just randomly, and Untitled Goose Game was that for like a lot of 2019. People just loved the idea of the goose, like 2019, 2020. People just loved this very cathartic opportunity to be a harmless animal that is just making everyone's day a bit worse. And the game isn't that long. It's not that big. It's just there are little puzzles you just need to work out, and it's all about just absolute joy in like a small town. And I don't know why it's so amazing, but it just is. Like, the absolute like explosion of happiness I have playing that game is just unreal, and I don't understand why.
I can see how you're grinning about it. So this goose is basically a criminal and a thief.
Yes.
So the goose is about thieving people's things and bullying people.
Yep, 100%. I literally spent 20 minutes bullying a small child in the game, and you just laugh the entire time. You bully them into you just trap them in a phone box and just honk at them as a goose, and that, I don't know why that's so enjoyable, but it is.
That should have been the trailer. You just explaining it right there has made me say, I'm going to buy it on my Switch. That should be the trailer of the game. Now, you've worked in the industry for a while, and you've been able to experience lots of different things. And one of the things that I really loved was being able to watch you do the stream for Eurogamer, where you did played Assassin's Creed Origins for Black Lives Matter, and it was really dope for me to be able to see. That's how I even found you, and I really enjoyed your stream and your energy, and it's so important, and I loved like how much of the message that you push forward. Random question I've never asked anyone on Too Many Games, but what video game character do you feel like you most connect with?
Oh gosh, that's a hard one. I mean, to be fair, like in the past I've written about this before, where a thing that really matters to me is sort of my race and like being a proud, sort of woman of color. Like that's a big thing that I've always like looked for in the media that I consume. It's subconscious. You don't realize you're doing it from a young age. And then all of a sudden, like eventually I was like, all of the stuff that I've consumed doesn't have anyone that looks like me or that I feel like or I connect with. And so in recent years, there have been like characters that I think that are better. I can't remember her name, but the bad guy, or is it
in Uncharted?
In Uncharted, Nadine. It was Nadine. She was very cool, and I really enjoyed seeing her sort of like her journey. But I'm actually today the cover for the next official PlayStation magazine.
Deathloop.
Deathloop. The bad. The bad woman, the bad guy in Deathloop, I think is going to be the person that I connect with the most on the basis that is like such a badass role. In like on an emotional level, I don't really know who I connect with in games. I feel like actually Nathan Drake is like is someone that I enjoy like seeing his journey. But typically I feel like there isn't. I think I enjoy games where I can sort of get the struggle of the person in a lot of ways. And I don't know how many games I've actually been able to experience that where I have in like film and books, which is unfortunate. But I guess, like part of me also wants to just say like Animal Crossing, when like your little player character.
Well, do you know, I will fully take Animal Crossing the way it changed last year. And actually Animal Crossing is such an amazing game for mental health, and I think it really helped a lot of people last year, because the good thing about gamers is even though we're out at events and we're thinking, mainly inside we're introverts, so we are fine actually being able to sit in front of a screen for how many hours and just get lost. But there's so many people who can't do that, and they're not used to being able to just escape with being inside and escapism. Those two things don't collate. So that was amazing. I love Deathloop. And do you know what? I've got a feeling when Deathloop drops, I got a feeling that there isn't any bad guy, because I got a feeling that she thinks he's the bad guy and she's going after him to protect herself, and he thinks she's the bad guy. And they both, it's so crazy that this game is a first person game, so you're not going to see your protagonist. And in the trailers that they've dropped already, there's so much substance to these two characters, and so many gaming companies, they make black characters which might as well just be a create your own sim, because they literally have no difference to anyone or anything. That's why I love so much about Spider-Man Miles Morales. Like I loved feeling his culture. I loved the way his mum spoke to him. I loved like feeling like I was a piece of him, not just there's a darker shader on that character with the worst hair ever. That only one
the hair in
one
the
afro
Spider-Man looks a bit off. I was like, what have they done to you? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, they went in with the original. They was like, get his hair on point.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with like a lot of blackness in games, I it's either they turn the shade down, or it's that they are black and that's their character. And they just go, okay, let's get some stereotypes and like let's place, like, I mean, there's Barrett
Mr.
in
T.
Final Fantasy.
Mr.
Final
T.
Fantasy's Barrett is Mr. T. That was literally the point of him. And in the 90s, I did some research when I did this Eurogamer piece about blackness in games and the future of that. In the 90s, it was like 1% of characters in the top 5 games every year for the 90s was black. There were more people who were like coded as white or Asian, for example, but then got like black skin and they're like anime protagonist type or like anime antagonist type of deals than there were like black people. And the black people that were that did appear were like either violent or like rip-offs of like other things, right? Yeah. And like we've come so far that like I'm like Deathloop feels like the level like that we need to meet, and it will just like it will make people realize that it's not just like having a diverse character in like a game is just normal. That's how it should be. That's just the level we should meet now. And that's
I did my top 7 black video game characters, and what I struggled finding like really strong protagonists, and like I love Balrog from like Street Fighter is like one of my favorite games. And when Balrog came out, he was like, because for me, not Balrog. Balrog was just basically Mike Tyson, and I just was like, whatever. But when DJ came out, I was like, raw. He's from Jamaica. he's got a little swag, but the voice acting is like, who did you find? Like, whose cousin? Like that Jamaican accent might as well have been Irish, or it might as well have been Bangladesh. Like, that is the furthest West Indian accent I've ever heard in
People
my
can't get West
life.
Indian accents in games, right?
What's his name? Is just as bad. Apex.
Lifeline.
Lifeline, yeah.
Talks about Lifeline's accent. I was like, this sounds off, and then I went to my mum. My mum's Grenadian. I'm half Grenadian, and I was like, this is off, isn't it? And she listened to it. She's like, what is this? I was like, what is that?
Weirdly enough, so I actually got to sit down with the creators of Apex for a Black History Month thing that EA did. And we were like, because we were saying the same thing, like, what is this accent? And apparently it was meant to be amalgamized, like, different accents. So it never stood out as one. But like, what's the point? Because then no one represents with it. You're better off. They were better off making it Bayesian, a hard, strong Bayesian that 100%. That people, that even if you're not Bayesian, you know it's Bayesian, and you're like, oh, there's a Bayesian accent.
Yeah, and like it's a better representation, because I think when it comes to, I mean, amalgamation is fine if people realize it's that. There was no context to that. There wasn't any like. It wasn't really an understanding. I get it in a futuristic capacity, that is like the case, but it's also that the people don't feel represented, and then people who don't know what a proper Grenadian, Jamaican, Bayesian accent sounds like takes that as law for what that like just a Caribbean person sounds like, when it just doesn't. That's just not how it is. Well, people who think that's how West Indian people sound, DJ from Street Fighter, it's not. It is not. It's as far as it could ever be. Like, yes, it's not at all. Imogen, do you know what? It was so dope to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on Too Many Games. It has been a delight.
You're amazing to talk to. You're doing some incredible work out there. Where can the people find you, and what piece of content, if someone's just met you for the first time, they don't know who you are, they've experienced you for the first time on Too Many Games, what piece of content do you want to send them to?
Oh gosh. Okay, so you can find me on like Twitter, like Imogen Mellor, and that'll be the same for my Instagram. But I think where I'm making the content that is really mine at the moment would probably be on Twitch. My streams, like if you've ever wanted to come and talk to me about games in any capacity, there is really where to go. And I would say, whatever is when I'm live is the content I'd want to send you to at Momento on Twitch, which is sorry, I've literally just messed up. Say my own username, M0RMENTO. But yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for you to all join us. Yes, remember I said we are on the podcast services now, my G. So make sure you come over to the YouTube, give us a thumbs up, give us a like. We've passed 1K 2021. We passed 1K. I am super gas mode. Thank you so much for your time. Imogen, you've been amazing. Thank you again. And we are out. Peace.